What you're about to see are some of my reactions to Taylor Swift's brand new album, Midnights. Really looking forward to checking this out. If you're interested in seeing the full album reaction and the full uncut, unedited versions of these reactions, go check out the Patreon. There's a ton of stuff on there, including this reaction, the full uncut, as well as so many other things, including Olivia Rodrigo, Shawn Mendes, Billie Eilish. So many things. There's musicals, there's documentaries, ton of stuff. Go check out the Patreon right now. I'll also be posting the full album reaction to this Midnights album by Taylor Swift on Patreon in the next couple of days, so go check that out as well. Link down below. Alright, let's get it started. This is Lavender Haze, the first track in the album. If you listen to her music at all, you notice that her music has been progressively getting a little bit more mature and mature and mature and mature and mature. So I'm really looking forward to this first track. It's called Lavender Haze. Let's see, also kind of see what tone she's going for this album, because as you notice, she's had, I mean, I've listened to every album from Taylor, so you have her super bubblegum pop stuff. You also have her like very more like folk kind of stuff, being the folklore and Evermore stuff. Of course, throughout though is incredible songwriting, so I'm curious to see in that what kind of direction she chooses for this album. Sidechain going on.
Staring at the ceiling with you. Oh, you don't ever say too much.
Dude, her voice sounds so good. This is honestly probably the best I've ever heard her voice. And just I mean, she's got a great voice, and she showcases it in different aspects and different songs throughout it. I mean, she's been around for a while in the music industry, but she showcases it in different aspects in different places in her career. But like, I don't know, man, it feels so full and like really in control. It's also mixed really well in the mix, in the sense of like it really cuts through really well. It's in the center of the mix, but it's also not too forward. I've been hearing some albums recently where like the vocal's too forward, and you don't get the full effect of the music, where I think that the music's really important because it kind of sets the tone and the mood and it's a lot of the emotional pull of the song and the sound. And if the vocal's a little too forward, while it's great to hear the vocalist, it sometimes takes away from the full experience of the music. And I feel like this is really well placed, but it's still really strong in her voice. Taylor falsetto. Really cool vocal production there. How she chose to place that in her vocal. Very whispery falsetto. Like, she could have totally sung that out really full voice, but it would have changed the dynamic in the song, because that's definitely in her full voice range. But she chose to sing in this more falsetto, very light and airy kind of whispery kind of tone, and it like really draws you in as a listener. Oh, this is very different, as opposed to if she was like really belting out. It would have totally changed the dynamic. Those layered vocals are really cool. Very interesting. Written by Jack Antonoff. There's a bunch of people in here. Taylor Swift, obviously, a couple other people. And Zoe Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter. Very interesting. A little interesting in the sense of like, I'm still curious as to like what the meaning behind some of it is. Very cool production, but really surprised that she chose this direction in the sense of like, it's very different than like the folklore album. This lo-fi, mature pop, it has a mature sound for sure. All right, let's see. We got this second track in the album. This is Maroon. Kind of keeping that color vibe. Lavender, maroon. Kind of 1989 vibes. Dude, she has such a distinct style of writing. This very one note bum 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 bum. Very, 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 very Taylor Swift melody style. It's totally Taylor Swift, man.
How'd we end up on the floor anyway? You say your roommate's cheap ass screw top rose. That's how.
As a songwriter, I really appreciate her songwriting style in the sense that like it's so distinct in the sense of like, how did we end up on the floor? Your room's very cheap screw top rose. That's like, it's so that her lyrics are so specific, so specific, and like specificity creates relatability, because like who hasn't had cheap rosé from a bottle, like a screw off top, you know? I gotta say though, honestly, I think this is probably her strongest vocal album. So I mean, again, 2 songs in, but like her vocals are really strong in this album so far. Like, it's really well placed in her voice. It's really cutting. It's really dynamically just there. It's good.
In the hallway, carnations you had thought were roses. That's us.
That's a very cool lyric. Carnations you thought were roses. That's us. Like, this really cool mistaken kind of beauty is very interesting.
Legacy and awake with your memory.
Yeah. Kind of going back to this pop sound. Favorite instrument in the world. The vocoder is done so well. I love a good vocoder. And it's so, part of that, I guess the reason I love it is because it's so hard to get it to sound so good. Like Taylor and her production team are so good at, like, the Delicate album where she's just starting with her and the vocal, and the vocoder is so clean, so full, and it's so hard to get a vocoder. Let me explain what a vocoder is. A vocoder is an instrument, typically it's like a synthesizer instrument that you run vocals, or any instrument technically, through, but mainly vocals through, and it creates this synthesized vocal sound based on the vocals that you're running through it. So it creates these harmonies based on the chords that you're playing. They sound like a synthesizer, but they're actually based on your vocal. It's such a cool instrument, and you can hear that they're split left and right to create this cool harmonic sound. Nice swelling with the vocals. Here we go, we got Anti-Hero, which is the one that Taylor's, I guess, releasing as a single, or really pushing as a single, in the aspect of it's the first one that released with a music video. It's also the one she's promoting with YouTube Shorts. Very much looking forward to seeing, I guess it'd be the lead single off of the album. Oh, definitely got a more poppy vibe for sure. I have this thing where I get older, but just... Does her vocals not sound so insanely good? I don't know what it is about it. It just sounds so good. I should not be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis. These rhyme schemes are so good. There's a lot of perfect rhymes one another after a row. Perfect rhyme, perfect rhyme, perfect rhyme, as opposed to like slant rhymes, or like essentially slant rhymes versus perfect rhyme. Typically, professional songwriters kind of stay away from these perfect rhymes in the sense of, like, because it's very easy to do essentially, and they kind of sound a little bit beginner. But what was interesting here is they didn't. Perfect rhymes are so, like, they're so easy to point out that they become almost like obtrusive to the listener, in the sense of, like, they stand out very much. So typically, if you want to use something that's like really stands out to the listener, you would use a perfect rhyme. Taylor is actually known to use a lot of perfect rhymes in her songwriting, but here these rhymes, for probably about 6 lines, have these perfect rhyme schemes, and it doesn't stand out, which is cool, because like it creates this, like, it draws you in to this like loophole effect, but it's not like, okay, this is like really standing out. So it's kind of a cool way to do the perfect rhyme scheme. For the anti-hero. Very interesting contrast in synth or in sound right there, in the sense that kind of like this depressing lyric and then going into these very bright synths, almost happy synths. Very interesting contrast. I haven't checked yet, but I guarantee this is helped produce exactly Jack Antonoff. Like, that right there is totally a Bleachers sound, like, and again, the new 1975 album, like, very, very, very Bleachers tone. Everybody has a distinct writing and producing style. This is definitely in Jack's style. I have this dream, my daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will. It's me. I am the problem. It's again a delayed vocal where it's not perfectly in time. Interesting. It's me. I am the problem. It's me. This is Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey, Snow on the Beach, 4th track in the album. Again, we're starting to kind of build up in the album, where in the sense of Lavender Haze was very chill, Maroon was very chill. Anti-Hero started to build up. It even started with a pretty upbeat drum pattern. Interesting contrast in the song in the sense that it started very, like it had a very happy feel, even though it's kind of sad lyrics, which is kind of like an interesting, because we have Anti-Hero. Kind of cool contrast. Pizzicato strings, plucked strings. One night, a few moons ago, I saw flags of what could have been. Really, really, really great vocal. I've said this in every song so far, that her vocals sound exponentially better than every other album. They sound so good, and she's sounded great before, but like, they sound so good. They produce so well. Interesting, cool layers of vocals here. There's definitely more than one layer vocal. Either that, or they're using delay, meaning echo, in a really unique way to kind of create this fuller vocal sound. I also want to talk about the production on the set. The song sounds really, really, really big, in the sense of there's sounds over here, sounds over here. There's so many different sounds. The tonal structure of the song, or the sound atmosphere that they're creating is key. You wanting me tonight feels impossible, but it's coming down, no sound, it's all around. Like, wow. Oh, this is good. I like this one a lot. The tension that's building. I guarantee we're about to go to this 6th chord, building the tension. So we had that, like, building the melody is really, really nice. But now you can feel the tension building, and I guarantee to create even more tension, we're going to the 6th chord, meaning that minor chord, creating a little bit of dissonance in here, leaving the 6th actually in music. We're going to get real technical for 2 seconds. In music theory, is like an alternate 1, but it's the minor, because it's only difference, for example, if we're in the key of C, C chord, the 1 chord is C, E, G. Minor chord, 6th chord is C, or if you're going to invert it, C, E, A. Only 1 note difference. So it kind Carolina still kind of feels like home, but now almost like a sad home, if that makes sense. Guarantee we're gonna go there. We were just at the 5 chord. Let's see.
Like snow on the beach.
6 chord. I told you, I knew it, creating this tension. Let's rewind it a little so you can hear the tension building.
In a dream, stars by the pocketful. You wanting me tonight feels impossible.
5
But
chord.
it's coming down, no sound.
The 6 chord.
It's all around like snow on the beach.
Told you. Well, can we just talk about what's here? This is cool production style in the sense of like, it almost sounds like we're at the end of the song. We're not. We're halfway through the song, but the vocals are coming through still. But the actual production is dying out. It's like we're fading out of the production, kind of really focusing on the vocals. Really interesting. Curious to see where we're gonna. They could go totally different directions in here. So I'm curious to see how they're gonna handle this.
To fake it till
fade
you
out?
make it till you do, till it's true. Now it's like snow at the beach. We're
Still very mellow, but definitely building up.
flying in a dream. Stars by the pocketful.
Really hope that you enjoyed that. If you did, definitely consider subscribing and also checking out the Patreon if you want to see the full-length versions of these reactions and also the full album reaction, which I'll be posting very soon on there. So definitely consider checking it out. There's so much other stuff on there. Like I said, Olivia Rodrigo, Ed Sheeran, Billie Eilish, Shawn Mendes, Hamilton, documentaries, and just tons and tons and tons of stuff. Music documentaries, by the way. Definitely consider checking it out, as well as Zoom calls with me. So link down below for Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless and peace.